Have you thought about writing an op-ed in the Times asking him to step down? Because it worked once. Why not try it again?
Hollywood, and perhaps the entire nation, is on the edge of its seat over the unexpected, explosive feud between George Clooney, one of the industry's most celebrated leading men, and Bill Maher, the outspoken talk show host famous for his politically charged wit and fearless commentary. In an era where cancel culture, media scrutiny, and public sentiment can make or break a star overnight, even the biggest names aren't safe. Clooney, often regarded as the gold standard of charm and sophistication, found himself at the center of a scandal that has rattled the entertainment world. His political ad aimed to champion his activism and rally voters, but instead sparked an outpouring of criticism. And who was waiting in the wings with a scathing refusal to offer him a platform for redemption? None other than Bill Maher. George Clooney was once untouchable in Hollywood. He starred in blockbuster hits, garnered critical acclaim, and cultivated an image of intelligence, wit, and style. He wasn't just an actor, he was an activist, often championing global causes and leveraging his star power for philanthropy. Over the years, Clooney transcended the typical A-list celebrity persona by actively engaging with social and political issues, meeting with world leaders, and even testifying on Capitol Hill. But in late 2023, Clooney decided to put his political passion front and center yet again. He produced a political advertisement intended to galvanize voters in the run-up to the 2024 election. The ad, which featured Clooney urging viewers to think about the people you care about most before casting their vote, sounded innocuous enough. Yet somehow, once it aired, the public reaction was anything but positive. Critics lambasted Clooney for what they perceived as a condescending tone. To some, his line urging people to do your patriotic duty seemed paternalistic rather than inspirational. Others took issue with the AD's tagline, "What happens in the booth stays in the booth," suggesting it was a trivialization of the voting process. On social media, the critique was swift and merciless. Twitter was ablaze with posts labeling the actor out of touch, hypocritical, and just another privileged celebrity trying to lecture the public. Memes popped up overnight, mocking Clooney's supposed moral high ground. In previous decades, a misfired political stance might have blown over with minimal fallout. But in today's environment, where everything is amplified and replayed across platforms within seconds, Clooney found himself at the mercy of a 24/7 news cycle. His well-crafted image took an immediate hit. This particular political ad seemed to validate the suspicions of some cynics. Hollywood power brokers began to distance themselves. Major studios, once eager for Clooney's involvement in high-profile projects, started issuing carefully worded statements that neither fully condemned nor endorsed him, effectively leaving Clooney out in the cold. The industry itself is in a state of flux. Audiences demand greater authenticity and are hyper-aware of any hint of hypocrisy. In this new ecosystem, a single slip can be catastrophic. Clooney's ad was seen as not just a slip, but a tumble down the staircase of public opinion, complete with echoing clangs that reverberated across Hollywood. Sources from within various agencies reported an uptick in anxious phone calls from Clooney's camp. Meetings that might have otherwise resulted in new projects or brand partnerships turned into frantic damage control sessions. Once Hollywood's leading man, Clooney suddenly felt the chill of an industry that can be mercurial at best, unforgiving at worst. Realizing the magnitude of the backlash, Clooney's public relations team hatched a plan. It was an ambitious, multi-pronged approach meant to recast Clooney as sincere, repentant, and still worthy of the public's trust. At the heart of this strategy was a grand media tour. Clooney, ever the debonair figure, would appear on various talk shows and news outlets, offering a candid apology for the AD's tone-deaf elements while reaffirming his commitment to the causes he championed. The idea was to transform him from tone-deaf lecturer to humble advocate, bridging the gap between his celebrity status and the everyday voter's reality. Central to this plan was one high-profile booking that Clooney's team believed would seal his redemption: a guest appearance on Real Time with Bill Maher. Why Maher? Because Bill Maher's show was widely respected for its blend of sharp political insight, humor, and a no-holds-barred approach to interviewing guests. Clooney's team reasoned that if the actor could survive Maher's tough questions and possibly even win him over, public perception might swing back in Clooney's favor. Furthermore, a successful appearance on Real Time would demonstrate Clooney's willingness to engage with critics rather than hiding behind carefully orchestrated fluff interviews. If Clooney could handle Maher's direct style and perhaps even show humility, it might restore the actor's standing as an earnest advocate and not just another celebrity out of step with mainstream concerns. However, Bill Maher is no stranger to controversy, and he has built a reputation on calling it exactly as he sees it. According to insiders, when Clooney's team first approached Maher's producers, the host dismissed the proposal outright. "This isn't a platform for celebrity rehabilitation," he allegedly stated. The bluntness of Maher's refusal sent shockwaves through Clooney's camp. For a man whose star power could usually open any door in Hollywood and beyond, being turned turned away was more than a setback. It was a personal humiliation. Suddenly, the shining future Clooney's PR team had banked on was in jeopardy. Maher had his reasons. Over the years, Real Time earned its credibility by focusing on political discourse, comedic monologues, and panel discussions with a mix of intellectuals, journalists, politicians, and occasionally celebrities. In Maher's view, transforming his show into a confessional booth for a Hollywood A-lister's public relations meltdown would undermine that credibility. There was also the matter of Maher's personal brand. He prided himself on holding guests accountable, no matter their fame or fortune. Granting Clooney a high-profile stage to spin or soften the narrative likely felt antithetical to the show's ethos. Clooney's team refused to take no for an answer. Believing that Maher's show was crucial for the actor's public rehabilitation, they returned with additional pitches. They highlighted the exclusivity of Clooney's appearance, promising dramatic revelations and a fiery back and forth that would boost ratings. After all, the media loves a comeback story, especially one involving a star of Clooney's caliber. But Maher wouldn't budge. A second refusal followed, this time with an added note of concern for the integrity of the program. Sources close to Maher claim he was worried that devoting an entire segment to Clooney's personal issues might repel his core audience, who tune in for political analysis, not Hollywood theatrics. By now, Clooney's PR camp was growing increasingly alarmed. The negativity surrounding Clooney's ad had reached a fever pitch on social media. Journalists were dissecting every word Clooney had uttered, fueling a larger debate on celebrity involvement in politics. A third proposal was hastily assembled. Clooney would participate in an unscripted town hall-style Q&A. The audience would ask unfiltered questions, ensuring Clooney had nowhere to hide if tough subjects arose. Once again, Maher declined. In private conversations reported by insiders, he maintained that Real Time was not a place for celebrity redemption arcs. For Clooney, the repeated rebuffs were beginning to feel less like a negotiation and more like a public shaming. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and George Clooney decided to make a personal plea. He reached out to Bill Maher directly, hoping that years of mutual respect, if not friendship, would grant him at least a hearing. Clooney reportedly offered Maher an unscripted, candid conversation, emphasizing that he would take the gloves off and address any questions, no matter how uncomfortable. But Maher stood firm. Insiders reveal that Maher told Clooney, in no uncertain terms, that Real Time was not in the business of rehabilitating celebrities who had stumbled in the public eye. Maher might have admired Clooney's filmography, his philanthropic efforts, or his earlier activism, but none of those factors outweighed the show's mission or format. This final rejection hit Clooney hard. For a man accustomed to near-universal admiration, being publicly snubbed felt like betrayal. In Clooney's mind, this was not just about salvaging his career. It was about upholding his personal dignity and the integrity of his long-standing commitment to various causes. As if multiple rejections weren't humiliating enough, rumors began to swirl that Bill Maher was privately mocking Clooney's repeated attempts. During dinner parties and off-air conversations, Maher allegedly compared Clooney's desperation to an actor failing an audition. These private remarks found their way back to Clooney's ears, sparking an even deeper level of anger and resentment. Then came the on-air quips. Maher never directly named Clooney, but those who had followed the drama immediately recognized the subtext. During a monologue, Maher criticized Hollywood elites who think they can sway elections despite their box office flops. He talked about how some celebrities believe their star power trumps any substantive policy understanding, and how that sort of entitlement wears thin in the current climate. To viewers in the know, the target was obvious: George Clooney. It was a stealthy barb that landed with precision. By not mentioning Clooney explicitly, Maher preserved plausible deniability, but the pointed reference to box office flops and overreaching celebrity activism left little doubt as to who he meant. Undeterred, Clooney's team reached out to other media personalities. One of the most notable was Howard Stern, another media titan known for controversial yet captivating interviews. If Clooney couldn't get a seat opposite Bill Maher, perhaps Stern would be more receptive. After all, Stern had a history of hosting polarizing figures, giving them a platform to speak candidly, often with dramatic results. However, even Stern's team appeared hesitant. Sources indicate they were wary of associating the show with Clooney's negatively charged public image. In an environment where every misstep becomes a trending topic, Stern's staff may have questioned whether Clooney's potential meltdown was worth the risk. Behind closed doors, Clooney's frustration reportedly boiled over. He lashed out not only at Bill Maher but at Hollywood insiders who, in his view, had turned on him with alarming speed. His meltdown was described by one anonymous agent as uncharacteristic, a stark contrast to the suave composure Clooney usually displayed in public. To fully understand this feud, we must recognize the broader cultural transformation taking place in Hollywood and society at large. The entertainment industry is no longer a gated community where stars can control every aspect of their public persona. In this digital age, fans and critics wield unprecedented influence through social media platforms. A misstep or ill-conceived statement can balloon into a PR crisis within hours, fueling debates on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Even established icons like Clooney, once believed to be immune to catastrophic reputational damage, can find themselves drowning in negative commentary and skepticism. Moreover, the public's tolerance for perceived moral posturing from celebrities has dwindled. Voters, viewers, and fans are more inclined to demand genuine authenticity rather than neatly packaged sound bites. They're wary of celebrities who use a moral stance to remain relevant or to lecture the public. Clooney's political ad, which might have been lauded as earnest a decade ago, was scrutinized through a more skeptical lens in 2024. The idea that a multi-millionaire actor could speak for ordinary people struck many as disingenuous, regardless of Clooney's charitable work or philanthropic history. For Bill Maher, this entire affair became an opportunity to clarify his show's purpose. By repeatedly turning down Clooney, Maher was making a statement. Real time isn't a confessional, and it certainly isn't there to bail out celebrities in turmoil. Maher has built his career by holding people, politicians, pundits, and celebrities alike, accountable for their words and actions. He is known for championing free speech, but also for demanding intellectual rigor from his guests. In many ways, the Clooney situation crystallized Maher's philosophy. If you're seeking an easy PR fix, you won't find it on his stage. For some viewers, Maher's refusal came across as principled and even heroic, a stand against what they perceive as virtue signaling from Hollywood elites. For others, Maher seemed to be overreaching, publicly humiliating a famed actor who was only trying to rectify a mistake. Regardless, the standoff enhanced Maher's standing as a no-nonsense commentator who won't sacrifice his show's integrity for spectacle. By this point, the feud had escalated beyond a mere personal disagreement. It became the talk of the town, reflecting anxieties that many in Hollywood share. Stars and executives watched from the sidelines, assessing how Clooney's misfortunes might inform their own public engagement. Would the new Hollywood environment, rife with instantaneous social media judgments, mean the end of celebrity activism? Or would it simply require stars to be more strategic, more genuine, and more cautious in their messaging? Clooney's downfall served as a cautionary tale. Misjudge the public's mood once, and you could find yourself shut out of opportunities you once took for granted. So, the question looms, can George Clooney recover from this debacle? Clooney remains a figure of immense talent and historic success. He boasts an enviable career spanning decades, during which he earned Oscars, Golden Globes, and the admiration of peers and audiences alike. Few stars have navigated Hollywood's labyrinth of fame and success as deftly as he did, until now. In show business, redemption arcs are practically a genre of their own. Audiences love a comeback story. They relish seeing a fallen star rise again. Whether Clooney can orchestrate a second act depends on several factors: his willingness to deliver a sincere apology, the public's readiness to forgive, and whether a platform emerges where he can speak without the overshadowing specter of a PR fiasco. In the weeks following Maher's refusal, Clooney faced a tightrope walk. Studio executives reportedly remained wary of attaching his name to big-budget projects, fearing backlash. Tabloids had a field day with rumors of Clooney's meltdown, magnifying every negative whisper. Still, Clooney has not officially retreated from public life. Close friends and associates have hinted that the actor is re-evaluating his approach, pondering how best to re-engage with political discourse without alienating an already skeptical audience. Celebrity activism is hardly new. From actors fighting against wars and advocating civil rights in the 1960s to modern-day social media campaigns for climate change or voter registration, stars have often taken stances on the issues of their time. However, the difference in 2024 is the hyperspeed at which public opinion can crystallize against or in support of a celebrity. Clooney, in particular, had always seemed adept at walking the line between stardom and advocacy. His involvement in causes related to Sudan, his outspokenness on human rights, and his philanthropic initiatives suggested a man who genuinely cared. But sincerity isn't always enough if the tone of your message strikes the wrong chord. Today's audiences expect celebrities, especially those taking on a moral or political stance, to be fully informed and in tune with everyday experiences. Clooney's ad came across as top-down instruction rather than an empathetic appeal, and that error proved fatal in an era that prizes relatability above all else. And what about Bill Maher? Will he ever relent and invite Clooney onto real time? Thus far, the host has shown zero inclination to reverse his stance. Instead, he continues to talk politics and culture with his usual guests, occasionally dropping barbs that some believe are pointed references to Clooney's situation. As for Clooney, no official statements have announced any upcoming media appearances specifically aimed at rehabilitating his image. Talks with other prominent hosts and platforms continue, though none appear to have the same prestige or critical weight as Maher's show, at least not in the current media landscape. Clooney versus Maher has already become a legend in the making, a parable for how even the most beloved personalities can find themselves vilified if they misread the public's mood. It underscores the fragility of celebrity reputations, the power of talk show hosts to shape narratives, and the unforgiving nature of today's cultural climate. It's anyone's guess how this saga will end. Perhaps Clooney will lay low, waiting for another moment to emerge, one in which the spotlight isn't so harsh. Maybe he'll find a different media figure willing to let him speak at length, offering a raw, heartfelt confession succession that repositions him in the public's good graces. Or maybe the damage is done, and Clooney will gradually fade from his leading man status into the realm of nostalgic Hollywood memory. What's certain is that in 2025, no star, no matter how bright, shines beyond the reach of public scrutiny. And for Bill Maher, this episode cements his role as a gatekeeper of authenticity, for better or worse. He's the host who doesn't flinch, doesn't compromise, and certainly doesn't see his platform as a lifeline for celebrities in the midst of a PR tailspin. In the end, the Clooney versus Maher feud is more than just a headline. It's a reflection of the cultural moment. It's a stark reminder that the rules of fame have changed. To survive in this climate, even the biggest names must adapt, exercise humility, and remember that true influence emerges not from condescension, but from connection. Let us know your thoughts. Until next time, remember, in Hollywood, reality can be more dramatic than the movies, and sometimes even the best leading man finds himself without a script. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more deep dives into the biggest controversies, showdowns, and transformations in entertainment and beyond.